All right, in 9.2, we're going to start to find the surface area of prisms and cylinders. So first you have to know what a prism and a cylinder is. So we already talked about what a prism is. If you remember, a prism is something that has two parallel bases that are polygons. So again, a very good example would be like here you can see this looks like kind of like a wedge of cheese. The top and the bottom are triangles and they are parallel. So that would be a triangular prism, or some kind of a box where the top and the bottom are parallel. And then that would be a rectangular prism. Um, so let's talk about what sorry, I gotta erase this. Let's talk about what a um, cone would look like. I mean, a cylinder would look like. A cylinder is going to have a base is going to be a circle. So they're going to be two parallel bases, so two circles, and then they're going to be joined like this. So that would be a cylinder. All right, so once again, here's your vocabulary. The prism is a polygon with two congruent faces that are parallel. The surface of a polyhedron is the sum of the areas of its faces. So you have to remember now, the surface area is going to be just the area going around. So like for instance, if I had a box, let me see if I can draw a box. Oops, I should erase that. Hold on. Whoops. So if I had some sort of a box, that would be my rectangular top, my rectangular bottom. So those would be my bases, and they're joined by these sides here. All right. So the top and the bottom are called your bases. And so if you're trying to find the surface area, you're going to add up all of the areas of the whole thing. But then there's also a thing called the lateral area and the lateral faces. And those are just the ones that are going to exclude the top and the bottom. So for instance, if I wanted to find the lateral area, I would only take the area of the front piece, the side pieces, and the back piece, and I would not include the top and the bottom. So the lateral area would just be the area of the blue pieces, and the surface area would be the blue and the pink all together. All right, so let's take a look at how we would do that. Let me erase some of this stuff. All right, so now you have two formulas here. You have the surface area of a prism and the surface area of a cylinder. So your first decision is, what is my shape? And then what is the formula that I'm going to use? So the surface area is, you're going to take 2 times the area of the base, because remember there's a top and a bottom, so there's two bases. So you're going to find the area of each one of those. And then you are going to find the area of all the sides and add them together. But another way to do that in a quicker way is to just find the perimeter of the base and then multiply it by the height. That's kind of a shortcut to finding all the areas all the way around and then adding them together. So before we get to the area of a cylinder, let's take a look at an example. So if I'm here, let's find the surface area of this triangular prism. All right, so if we use our formula, the first thing we're going to have to do is find 2 times the area of the base. So if you remember, the base here are these two triangles. So this is one base, and this is the other base. So if we drew that out separately, I would have a triangle that looks like this, where this side is 5. No, I didn't draw it very well, because it's a right triangle. Oops. It's a right triangle. So let's try that again. It's got a right angle there that I missed. So it would be like this, where this side is 5, this side is 12, and this side is 13. So the first thing you have to do is find the area of this. Well, remember, you have to go back now to your last chapter, so it's going to be good to have those formulas handy. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So here's my base, here's my height. So I'm going to multiply those together. So area is going to be 1/2 5. Whoops, I can't write on this. I have to make that smaller. So it's going to be 1/2 5 times 12. I'll do it over here. 1/2 5 times 12, because my height is 5 and my base is 12. Well, 12 times 5, if I multiply those together, that'll give me 60, and 1/2 of 60 would be 30. So I know the area of one of the bases is going to be 30. So now I've just found this piece right here, and I know that that's 30. I'll put it right here, 30. I'll remember that. All right, now I have to go over here and I have to find the perimeter of the base. So remember, finding the perimeters, you're going to add up all the sides going around. So 5 plus 12 is going to give me 17. And then I'm going to have to add this side, which is 13. So my perimeter is going to be 30. So I know my perimeter here is 30. And now I have to multiply it by the height, but now you have to remember, this is the height of the entire prism. So this prism right here, this is the height of the prism. That's how tall the prism is. So that would be 7. So now if I put this in my formula, it's going to be 2, right? There's my 2, times 30, plus the perimeter we said was 30, times the height, which we said was 7. And now if we do that math, 2 times 30 is 60. 30 times 7 would be 210. And 60 plus 210 is going to give me 270. So the surface area, which is the area of every single surface of this entire figure, would be 270. And if they gave me units, it would be like inches squared, inches squared or feet squared or whatever it is. I don't know what the units are. I don't think they gave it to me, so I'll just say units squared. All right, so that's the way that you would use your formula. Now, if you want some practice, you can go ahead and try each one of these and make sure that you get it right. If you try these two, which is a good idea, you can take a look down here. It gives you the answer on how to do this one here. Will give you the answer. Now let's find the surface area of a cylinder. So the surface area of a cylinder really has a very similar formula where you're going to have the area of the base, but now instead of perimeter, you're going to have circumference because it's a circle. But it's easier to remember this formula here because the area of the base is always going to be a circle. And if you remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So if you just plug that in, it's going to be 2 times pi r squared. And then the circumference is always 2 pi r. So I would use this formula for the surface area of your cylinder. So if we're going to find the surface area of this cylinder, here's the formula that I would write down in my notes to make sure I had that. And then you're just going to plug in what they give you. So the surface area is going to equal 2, that's given in my formula, pi, that's given in my formula, and I can use my calculator to figure that out. The radius, well, if you look at this, the radius is halfway through the circle, right? The whole way through is called the diameter, halfway through is called the radius. So that would be 5. And then you see here I have to square that. Plus 2 times, again they have pi. And again they're asking for the radius, which we already said was 5. And then the height, which is how tall is your cylinder, which is 2. So now we just have to do this math. I know that 5 squared is 25. 25 times 2 would be 50. So my surface area is going to be 50 pi. I can't forget about the pi. Plus, well, 2 times 5 is 10, times 2 would be 20, so this would be 20 pi. These are now like terms, so I can add them together, so this would be 70 pi. But I know that pi equals 3.14, so I can just go to my calculator and say 70 times 3.14. And if I put that in my calculator, I'll get about 220 square yards. So here is your formula for your area of a cylinder. And up here is your area formula for the area of a prism. So why don't you go ahead and work on this practice A and see if you can work on that. If you have questions, let me know.